Remember that Christian movie that sounds like it should be a porno, but it's not?
Psalty's Salvation Celebration it is!
God has a plan for my life. God has a plan for my life.
To give this its full title, it's Psalty, Salvation, Celebration, the Movie. And this stretches the meaning of the word movie more than a creation science textbook stretches the meaning of the word theory. This is based on a long-running series of Christian albums of songs and hijinks for kids. I'm thankfully not an expert, but according to the internet, this was based on the 10th album. It's 36 minutes of what would happen if you dropped Kirk Cameron on his head and put him in charge of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's from 1992, and frankly, it's evidence that whole year was a mistake. Imagine a sense of irritation made of neon produced by a megachurch. But, like one of the small ones. And you're already halfway to understanding this thing.
Word to your mother, of God.
QTV? I'm not buying it. Oh, quiet time video. It's working, I could review this in my sleep. What's this about? Well, to begin with, it's about a map to the treasure of the Great Salt Lake.
Oh, hello. Excuse me.
Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong Bible story. Look at that title, it's like they couldn't decide which cheesy early 90s font to go with, so they chose 3 at random.
Oh, these leaves keep hitting me in the face.
I'm already jealous.
Animated Psalty costume. So far, all you have is a greenhouse and Sonic the Hedgehog's hands that I assume you cut off and stole. Why don't I believe you that you know the meaning of the word animated?
Come on, kids. I think this is the way.
Come on, children, I think the plot's this way. I'm sure we'll find it beside all the racism.
Don't worry, kids. I'm sure it's just a few friendly natives. They're probably having a drum practice.
This is already the Lost City of Zed, Christian edition. Did they just find a gay pride stand? It's like a march, but with much less work. All those natives look genuinely perplexed that the filmmakers attacked them with papier-mâché masks and made them stand around like idiots.
Have any of you gentlemen seen a suspicious-looking character lurking around here lately?
You're a camera that's attached to some free-floating Smurf hands! Their definition of suspicious might be a little different than yours.
You know, most things I review have the decency to save the hideous racism for more than 2 minutes in. Besides, the only form of racism that's acceptable is the kind against book-looking fucks with Argeria. That thing is Psalty. He's like Mr. Blobby, but somehow less terrifying and a little less coherent.
Quick, untie us! Get us out of here before they start realizing you're not a god, you're just an American!
And being dumb as fuck makes sense, though. He's a book. Visiting a library is like going to an orgy. And orgies aren't allowed. Anyway, who'd want to know what's going to happen here when you can spend 30 minutes on a train with the entirety of the Mouseketeers Bible study group? Psalty, aka Thomas the Tank Engine after body transplants, taking a random selection of kids that he promises he didn't steal across the United States, singing about the Lord.
The Lord, clearly being Chuck E. Cheese.
They're starting in Santa Ana, California, a good place to get legless. Also, good advice when watching this film. Here's Shelley, one of the kids. She's well prepared for such a long train journey because she has Amtrak in her hair.
Psalty,
If I didn't know you better, I'd say you're a little nervous about this trip.
well, maybe a little.
I can see why. She's even less convincingly animated than Psalty, and he's a painfully blue, wearable novelty cake that went hideously wrong.
You're going to expect me to talk about the Lord in front of a lot of people.
Now, Shelley, don't you worry about a thing. You just come along and use the talents God has given you.
If you don't use those talents, God will take them away. He'll open you up, reach inside, and tear them from you. That's what happened to me. He just left the chapter list and appendices so I can remember what I lost.
I usually find that when somebody loves the Lord, they get so excited they can't help but tell other people all about it.
I hear being a vegan works much the same way.
Excuse me, Psalty, but I'm afraid we've got to get on board or the train will leave without us.
And wouldn't that be fucking tragic? What fresh hell would that lead us to?
Let's get freaky now. Let's get fucking freaky now. Let's get freaky now. Let's get fucking freaky now. Let's get freaky now. Let's get fucking freaky now.
I'm really not sure if that's an improvement or not. You know, I probably realized somewhere deep in someone else's soul, because I don't have one of those, that someone's career could go down from appearing in Cats, but I didn't want to believe it. This is Minnie Mouse's humorous cousin, and because God hates everyone involved in this, including me, she's joining them on the train.
Thanks, Mr. Barnes. We'll take good care of her.
We'll have her dressed up as something scarring and nonsensical in no time!
Okay, I've got my master tapes and everything. Praise the Lord.
Well, this guy looks fucking delighted to be making a cameo.
Your compartment is ready, sir. This way.
He looks like he wants to punch the camera. Understandable, really. It is playing Psalty in that shot. Good thing that music's here to help us keep Amtrak of the journey. Now remember, kids, we have to take a wrong turn at Albuquerque and end up in the jungle in time for the flashback to end.
Who's a turkey?
Not who's a turkey, Albuquerque. It's a city in New Mexico.
Here's the rest of the kids. I think my favourite one is the guy who needs to be reminded of where he's from every time he looks in a mirror. Since they're riding on ye olde track, they get a living room to film in, complete with suspiciously unchanging views. Though that's thematically appropriate.
Okay, are there any questions so far?
Yes? Why do you exist?
Wait, I've got it. A monster attacked Angel Grove. Rita Repulsa threw her staff down and missed it, but landed in the library instead. Am I close? Also, why did someone draw testicles on you? Anyway, Horton here is a homosexual.
So, this is where you're hiding! Ever since I got on this train, everybody's been telling me about this group of talented young performers.
This is the film's villain, besides Satan, but he's off-screen puppet mastering everything. This guy is ambiguously gay, often ambiguously Jewish, sometimes ambiguously Lionel Richie, occasionally ambiguously rapey, and once or twice just ambiguous.
I'm recruiting singers and dancers for a big show this summer at Nine Flags Theme Park.
The L is probably meant to be silent.
For a big show this summer at Nine Flags Theme Park.
Oh my god, 9 flags! That's 3 better than 6 flags! He's pretending to be an agent who wants to sign up the kids, especially Shelley, apparently the most talented of them. I'll take the film's word for that. Actually, that might be unfair. She somehow manages to convey about 60% of all possible emotions in just over a second. Joy Lance, who plays her, has actually had a decent career. She's been in Charmed, American Gothic, Dexter, Grey's Anatomy, and other stuff I've never watched, but IMDb swears exists.
Ricky Rasmussen Productions. I've never heard of you.
And you are?
This is Psalty, the singing songbook, and I'm Charity Church Mouse.
Well, I've never heard of you either.
I realize there's no good answer to this question, but then why are you offering to buy their children?
So tell me, kid, how much are they paying you for this tour?
Well, sir, Mr. Ratmusen, nothing actually.
I gotta say, I like how it's the villain that thinks the performing monkeys should be paid. Clearly, someone skinned Psalty and put his cover on Das Kapital. Pity he couldn't actually read it because his eyes don't work backwards.
We're not doing this for money.
Good, because there are easier and more efficient ways to extract cash from crowds of evangelicals. Making a 36-minute pseudo-film, for instance.
Yeah, I saved up my allowance for a whole year just so I can pay for my ticket.
My. You're a dumbass!
I mean, I've looked out the window and the train's not even moving. You didn't even need to leave home! Now, I didn't get to experience this myself, but I'm told that not even Network Bodacious made you pay to hang out with freaks in ridiculous costumes, make a fool of yourself in public, and do what passes for acting in what passes for a movie if you squint. The longer the scene goes on, the more I'm concluding that The Rat in the Hat is somehow the worst live-action Dr. Seuss adaptation.
$6,000 may not seem like a lot of money, but the experience alone is easily worth over $1 million.
Ching!
Anyway, drama malware installed, he retires to his gloating hall.
This is gonna be the worst tour that Psalty and Charity have ever had.
Most of their tours involve Psalty and Charity Church Mouse, so I doubt that.
Psalty, why is there villainous laughter coming from behind the door, Psalty? Why? What's going on, Psalty? I'm scared. Just had a thought, Psalty is only a Christian because he's been written that way. It's very Calvinist. And so's this song.
Be ready to give an answer. Know what you believe. Write God's word in your heart before you wear it on your sleeve.
In that it's been designed to make you feel okay with other people suffering eternally. Of course, those people I'm referring to are the ones who wrote and performed the song, but I'm pretty sure you already knew that. Yes, kid. America is a prison.
I believe that Jesus is God's only Son, who died on the cross and rose the third day. In my book, he's number one.
I believe that Hagan will fuck Jesus with a strap on, but only if he gives consent. Oh, what a happy day, oh yeah!
Oh, what a happy day, oh yeah! Oh, what a happy day, oh yeah! Oh, what a happy day!
You need singing lessons.
Oh no, oh no!
Why the fuck are they even allegedly touring? I'm sure places all over America have their own performing evangelicals with measures of magnitude, more confidence than talent.
Wanna play a game?
Only if you're secretly Tobin Bell and there's a stealth Saw prequel.
Can you guess my name?
Hercule Poirot.
I am the master of disguises. I'm never who you think.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
I'm clever, cruel, conniving, a creep, a real rat fink.
The guy who killed James Cagney's brother.
Can you guess yet?
Someone who badly wants to be glassed.
I love to drink, confound, confuse, befuddle, and amaze. I'm great at making smoke screens to keep you in a haze. How about now? Any guesses?
Could it be Satan?
I thrive on plotting pranks and schemes. I chuckle at a sham. By now you all should know, my friends, exactly who I am. I'm Risky Rat.
Honestly, dude, I think you're wildly overestimating how many people watched your previous videos.
Okay, so this guy is apparently a recurring villain, and yet his idea of a disguise was a top hat. Is the subtext here that Christians are dumb and will believe anything you sing at them? Because the minions technically sang earlier, and I'm sure that few of the Christians watching this now believe they're going to dom their Lord.
But I will, and it wouldn't be the first time.
Uh-oh, looks like the camera mistook us flouncing for a mating dance.
Go on! Get out of here!
Should have left him to sleep with the light on. They stopped at Phoenix to let in more travelers.
Hey! Hey! Listen! There's more people getting on the train.
Fucking miracle, that. Shelley's decided to keep them and their heathen, non-salty loving selves away from her by wearing a shirt that she hopes will melt their eyeballs if they get too close. It gives her more wistful, staring at nothing time.
Hi, Shelley, remember us? Shelley, we're Ralph and Rhonda Johnson.
As you can see, her plan didn't work. It's probably for the best. I'm sure she'd love to hear this girl managed to steal her wardrobe from Merlin Return.
We'll be billeting with her father during the summer respite. He's accompanying us to the Nine Flags theme park, some St. Louis Cardinals baseball game, and a plethora of the city's other cultural highlights.
Why is there a defective Android version of Blossom in this?
I fucking love that her little brother's being low-key terrified of Psalty scene. Clever kid.
Shelley, what is the purpose of convening a songbook, a mouse, and these young people on a high-velocity rail vehicle?
Always a good sign when a new supporting character's first act is to point at how nonsensical the plot is. Well, it was in Buckaroo Banzai, but between you and me, I'm doubtful that this is Buckaroo Banzai.
Pardon me? She means, what are you doing on this train?
I'm a really offensive depiction of a spectrum person, and my little brother's my translator. S.I.G.
Why don't you tell them all about our salvation celebration?
Because I'm very busy slowly turning into Jonathan Brandis. Later on, we see that the kids are training for the shows.
Born again! Born again!
No, Zach. We go to the right at that point.
We never go left because it's sinister.
Born again! Born again!
I'd like to born her again.
Charity, I'm sure the kids will be just fine. Don't you think it's time to give them a little break?
Well, you all deserve a rest. But remember, Zach, to the right, to the right.
Okay.
Good, now we have some alone time. Charity, did you know that once you've gone book, you'll look nowhere else for a fook?
At the risk of sounding disingenuous, I must say that
You appear to be dressed like a pack of highlighters.
What does it mean to be born again?
Oh, that. That's when you cut open your mother's stomach and you climb inside and you with some forceps.
Shelley, it has always been my contention that Christian kids are, well, quite frankly, nerds.
What the fuck are they doing here? This is like bringing Richard Harrison and having him say that he thought Christians were a bunch of dead alcoholic Irish actors who appeared in Harry Potter. It's just weird. Is it trying to, I know what you are, but what am I? Itself?
Well, it's not that easy for me to put it into the right words.
So allow me to use the wrong ones. Globule, Himmel the Humming Hymn Book, Ratchet.
So the rat's now decided that he doesn't want Shelley telling the new kids about Christianity. Not sure why, they'd be the worst thing to happen to the religion's street cred until Pat Boone's metal album. Now, you'd think he'd just burst in there and talk some more bollocks to stop her from telling them, but nah. He gives so few fucks, he lets the passage of time and the movement of the train do it for him.
Albuquerque Station, 5 minutes.
That was a close one.
Meanwhile, at Epcot, Netherlands, they've made it to Albuquerque, and as you can see, the place is so fucking boring that the locals are amazed to see kids literally raised by the book.
My daddy was born in a wheat field.
Well, at least you didn't say cotton field. Oh, fucking hell.
But I tell you that it makes no difference. No, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. Cause we all been born again. Born again, born again, born again, born again.
Drag race challenges are getting weirder and weirder. You know what this film is? Fucking terrible. But beyond that, it's the Page Master. If Macaulay Culkin was a diverse gang of kids. But not too diverse. And every book was the Bible. At least the poor bastard who plays the rat looks like he's about to pass out from heat stroke.
Well, the Lord don't care if you're rich or poor.
Only if you can fit through the eye of a needle. And you're not queer.
Or your skin's red, yellow, black, or white.
Well, the Lord apparently only cares if you're blue. Ba-ba-dee-ba-da-ba. Also, yikes, the Lord's apparently okay with some light racism in his lyrics. Song over, it's time for Psalty to do something else he's shit at. Speaking.
You know, the big book, the Bible says...
How fucking big is your Bible?
Although, I think I've worked out where Psalty came from, apart from humanity's collective nightmares.
Baby got Johnson chain with the big red letters.
Clearly, this guy's Bible was just too big for him to take onto the bus, so he threw it into the sewers and it was hit with a mutagen in the same accident that created the Ninja Turtles and Daredevil. And then, in a completely unrelated incident, some dumbass invented Psalty. That is a fucking great music video, by the way.
39 plus 27 equals 66 books. And if you're Catholic, there's even more.
Danielle, why don't you tell the folks about the good news of the gospel?
Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle, and I am 10 years old. I never thought myself as a sinner until last year. I found out for sure that I was one.
I was told that I'm shit. And I'm here to tell you that you're shit too, and you know who likes shit? A guy named Jesus! I think he was German. I am not getting the appeal here. Don't most places in America have ready access to supplies of idiots that to talk about Jesus? Deep in the talk about nothing of consequence, one of the young splits off from the safety of the herd, ready to become easy prey for the large, rapey man in a half-hearted rat costume. Life in Albuquerque is harsh and often short. It is a microcosm for nature and evolution itself, whether the Christians believe in it or not. Join me next time when I investigate a megachurch to see if I can find the most elusive of beasts, a homophobic pastor who's not fucking rent boys on the side. Anyway, that dirty rat, ooh, in between bouts of leering, is trying to talk Shelley into being a Christian. Because that's important.
Mr. Rasmussen, I do believe in Jesus.
Well, who doesn't? That's not the issue.
I mean, technically, even the devil believes in Jesus. One of the only slightly weird things in this is that the rat is being portrayed as a classic tempting Satan figure.
And I'm prepared to offer you the lead in my summer musical.
You are?
Dangling promises in front of his victims, but he's not Satan. He's just a rat. It's like they landed on an actual trope by accident.
All I'm asking you to do is follow your heart.
Just let me open up your chest and throw it in the direction of my office. You won't regret it. I already have a contract drawn up and ready to sign. I like the ominously non-gospel music they're playing in the background. Not because it's any good, mind you, because it's almost convincing me that someone actually wrote music for this thing. The rest of the songs sound like someone put predictive text on and kicked the shit out of their phone. This guy's brand of evil seems unnecessarily complicated and expensive. His whole deal is he's trying to upset this kid by convincing her he'll make her a star and this will drive her away from God somehow. As if Christian celebrities don't exist. He's bought disguises in a room in a train that's going halfway across the USA just for the chance to make a girl cry and or tell her that God is dumb.
We could have just waited 20 years and started a YouTube channel.
For fuck's sake, he'd probably be headlining at MythCon.
I want you to think about starring in your own network special.
Ooh, what's going on here? Hey, the Mr. statue for fun. Hey.
Stop that.
Oh, it's fucking alive!
Thank you, Psalty!
Oh, I gotta run!
If you finally realize that while this is funny as fuck, it's technically not a sitcom.
How do you like my outfit? Don't you think it's the best one yet? Psalty and Uppity haven't got a clue as to who I am.
That might be because they're dumb as fuck, or maybe you were recognized and you didn't realize because you are dumb as fuck. Or maybe you're all dumb as fuck and it doesn't matter. I'm leaning somewhere between the first and third one. Anyway, soon they're Wichita, and let's have a few moments silence for the very different film they could have got if they'd arrived a year earlier, when BTK was still at large. Wichita, like a bunch of American cities on the Amtrak route, is apparently so horrifically boring that they have to import children to tell them shit they already believe. Anyway, it's the night before the big show, St. Louis on the end of the line. The Blue Weenie and Cyndi Lauper are worried about Shelley.
And it's all because of that talent agent. Shelley would never be acting this way if he hadn't come along.
Act like what? The only thing she's done since her talk with the rat is notice that she's a reflection.
There's something very familiar about that guy.
Yeah, you met him on the set of Moonwalker. He was Michael Jackson's stand-in, and you were one of the assholes in Speed Demon.
And it doesn't look like Shelley is going to talk to Ralph and Rhonda about the Lord. Oh.
I was counting on her not hearing the siren call of actual income and independent thought. I mean, I don't want to talk to those weirdos. Me neither. I've noticed that we never see any of the kids' rooms. I mean, they can't all be stuck between Psalty's pages all night. Can they?
Oh, Psalty, it's just that $6,000, this is a lot of money. And, oh, I've been training to be a singer and dancer since I was 7 years old.
So, 2 weeks ago?
Shelley, being in a professional show and starring in a TV special could be wonderful.
But have you ever heard of a thing called PME? No? Why? No reason, but if Mr. Rat starts sending you abusive, rambling emails in all caps in the middle of the night, don't say I didn't warn you.
We know you've been too nervous to talk to Ralph and Rhonda about the Lord, but they really admire you.
We want you to find out what they're taking. The rat's listening in on the conversation while his collection of clown wigs pukes in the background. It's almost an apt visual metaphor for the film as a whole. Shelley's having second thoughts about giving up on Jesus to follow a charismatic guy who travels around, is clearly not interested in women, and made incredible promises that he'll never have to keep. This means...
Oh, wait, sorry, got them mixed up.
Shelley's having second thoughts about giving up on the charismatic guy who's not interested in women, and made incredible promises that he'll never have to keep in order to follow the rat guy. This is almost taking a turn into a land called drama. Luckily, the train's on a track, so they can't really change direction.
I usually find that when somebody loves the Lord, they get so excited they can't help but tell other people all about it.
Becoming a Christian turns you into a dick! I am shocked, Psalty. Really, really shocked. You seem to have a very dim view of Christians. This is because Christians are really dim! Oh! Well, I don't know what to say to this. I'd just like to apologize on behalf of myself and... well, not Psalty, because it's a dickhead. Next, if we need a cameo, please book someone a little less problematic.
Holy fuck, the train's going straight through the stock footage. The great city of St. Louis proudly welcomes you, Psalty, to the beginning of the finale. You can tell this is going to be impressive. It is a few million% more balloons than the rest of the film. At least some of the kids changed clothes, and Psalty's practicing being a stalker.
Oh? Psalty, what's wrong?
I didn't add that music.
Oh? Psalty, what's wrong?
like the editor was working on pure instinct. Psalty explains that the tapes have been stolen. Apparently this is a massive deal.
I've searched everywhere, but the master tapes are gone.
They don't even explain what's on them. It can't be the music because they still have that when they sing. Since they ad-lib a song later on, I can only guess it's their vocal tracks, and these kids are a gang of mini vanillis.
And most of them are very vanilla-y.
Actually, the tapes are copies of the 9th Psalty album, which in real life was released after the 10th album. Because in the plot of this, the 10th album, the rats stole them. So the plot of the 9th album is them trying to find and recover the 9th album. And to make this even madder, the rat destroys every copy of the 9th album. So instead, they release a tape of the shit they got up to trying to stop him.
Holy shit.
They also work out the identity of the rat, not by noticing that it's apparently their arch nemesis in a fucking hat, or by praying, but by having a kid randomly get his pseudonym wrong and accidentally using his real name.
Wow, 2 things vanishing in one morning. First, Salty's master tapes, and now Mr. Risky Ratlinger.
Risky Ratlinger? That's it! That talent agent is actually Risky Rat!
Oh no!
I hear this is how Sidney Riley was captured by the Russians. Ooh, take that 1920s espionage reference.
The really funny thing is, they think he's vanished, escaped with the tapes, but he's still in his room, practically next door. I'm guessing there was a deleted scene where they knocked on the door, and they assumed he was someone else because the rat was in a top hat, so it can't have been him. The rat's giving a monologue explaining why he's the real hero of the film, and I think he makes a compelling case.
First, I irritated Psalty and Charity from day one. Second, I upset the teamwork and cooperation amongst the kids.
The only issue I have with his boast is they have 5 minutes left to try and fix points 3 and 4.
Third, I got Shelley to doubt her faith in the Lord. Fourth, I stopped Ralph and Rhonda from receiving Jesus as their savior. And fifth, I'm ruining the final show by borrowing these tapes.
And in an act of even greater evil are setting up the plot to the previous/next story.
Care to join me as we watch the exciting finale of Psalty's Salvation Ruination?
Psalty, welcome to St. Louis, the gateway of the pioneers.
I hope to fuck that's not the actual mayor of St. Louis. This is Rob Ford level embarrassing.
Praise the Lord.
We'll clap literally anything.
God has a plan for my life.
Unfortunately, it doesn't involve being an incompetently made thing about weirdos and bizarre costumes and over-the-top villainy. Well, except for her. She was an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
God has a plan for my life.
Yes, I do. It involves changing the song to something a little less annoying.
Anyway, that song soon replaced with something much better. The Risky Rat diss track.
Along came Risky Rat, thinking he was oh so smart, telling me his lies, tearing up my tender heart.
I can really see this evolving into a beef to rival Biggie and Tupac. Mainly because that would mean both her and the rat would end up dead. What's left to say? Well, her dress, like much of this film, came straight out of the 50s, and she's finally going to tell the nerds about Jesus. Psalty and the less evil rodent would have done it themselves, but it's hard to convert someone when they're screaming in terror.
Jesus loves you guys, and he has a great plan for each of your lives. But the main thing is that he wants to have a relationship with you.
But I'm only 8!
God sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for us. Excuse me, could you please rephrase that last part? I don't understand.
Well, because Jesus got nailed to a tree by some Italians, you can be forgiven for every time you punched your brother. And he's the bad guy if he gets angry because you didn't say sorry to him. This doesn't strike me as very fair. The geeks are meant to be a pastiche of atheists, or people who think they're too smart for Jesus or whatnot. But the makers are too worried to let them have an opposing point of view. Lots of confidence in the Lord there.
Please forgive my sins and help me to live my life for you.
Looks like Shelley forgot to take her mic off.
Well, we've never done the song that way before.
Yeah, sorry about that. You usually have some sort of an idea who the hell we're singing about.
Along came Risky Rat.
Risky Rat must be from the Apocrypha. How learned. Anyway, based on the amount of balloons, I think they were expecting more than 2 converts.
It's your very happy birthday. It's your very happy birthday.
I'm fairly sure I managed to convert more than 2 with just the people watching this video. If I'm right, leave a comment telling me how much you worship me. Anyway, the rat ran off to Africa with the tapes ready to have the semi-aborted sequel/prequel brain-melting fuckery of the 9th album, which is where we came in. Ralph and Rhonda are there too, so not only did they brainwash those kids they were meant to be watching, but they kidnapped them afterwards.
So, that's how we got into this mess. Any ideas how to get out of it?
Just explain you're too salty to eat.
This is spectacularly bad. It's like a supernova of amazing terribleness. I know this is a weird thing to say, but thank you for this request. I loved it, and I'll try to find more of them. Everything was just off-kilter but shit. It's like Saving Christmas if half the clothes were neon and Kirk Cameron was painted blue. It was somehow less terrifying. Still, at least this is better than that Oscar-winning film that Psalty would later appear in.
All in all, this is a...
Oh, did you enjoy that? Did it break you?
Weren't you paying attention
I don't pay attention to any of your shit. I watch the Horror Guru. He's always so reasonable with his points, especially about the Ghostbusters. He was right about that. But anyway, was it too horrible to talk about? Oh, of course it was. It's because you're weak.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I loved that film. It was so blue and happy and so evangelical. It was fucking hilarious. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.